They took our daughters. Humanity's wrath unleashed. Story summary, detailed, not chapter-based. For thousands of years, the Zarynthian Dominion, the largest and most feared alien empire in the galaxy, had dominated hundreds of species. With towering spires of crystal cities and vast armadas of biomechanical warships, they believed themselves untouchable. The Zarynthians, a telepathic insectoid race, viewed other species not as equals but as tools to be used, especially the weaker ones. Their empire thrived on fear, subjugation, and resource harvesting, including slaves. When human colonies began expanding beyond their local solar systems, the Zarynthians initially ignored them. Humans were small, scattered, and seemed technologically behind. But when scouts encountered human settlements, they noted a strange anomaly. Humans fought back with terrifying intensity, even when they were outnumbered and outgunned. Still, the Dominion didn't take it seriously, until they made a fatal mistake. During a skirmish near the Anrel Nexus, a Zarynthian fleet captured a deep space civilian convoy. Among the prisoners were over 300 human women, including scientists, engineers, students, and some military personnel. The Zarynthians intended to use them in their genetic research labs and slave colonies, as they had done to many species before. They underestimated what that act would provoke. The message that changed everything. The Dominion sent a transmission to Earth, a cruel display of dominance. It showed some of the women in containment, mocking humanity's weakness and declaring them now property of the Empire. It was a psychological tactic used for centuries to break resistance. But it backfired catastrophically. Humanity's response: total war. Within 48 hours, Earth's united coalition governments convened in emergency session. For the first time in history, every faction, Earthborn, Martian, Lunar, Jovian, even deep space outliers, agreed unanimously. This was an act of war. Total war. Operation Retribution was launched. The sleeping beast awakens. Humanity had always hidden its full capabilities. Most galactic observers believed humans had modest ships and limited weapons. But what they didn't know was that Earth had been preparing. Centuries of militaristic evolution, forged in Earth's violent history, had created weapons so dangerous they had never been revealed, not even to allies. The first counterattack was swift and brutal. The Fourth Colonial Fleet, led by Admiral Kalen Roth, deployed black hole destabilizers in Dominion-held space. The Valkyrie Division, an elite unit of genetically enhanced female soldiers, infiltrated Zarynthian research stations and liberated hundreds of captives, including those who had been taken. AI-controlled dreadnoughts, with quantum pulse cannons, tore through Zarynthian fleets. These ships had no crews. They were built only to kill. But worse was yet to come for the Zarynthians. Psychological warfare and Earth's wrath. Zarynthians were a hive-minded race, telepathically linked. Humans used that against them. Captured telepathic interfaces were reverse-engineered, and humans began flooding their psychic networks with horrific images. Human history's most violent wars, genocides, revolutions, and rebellions. The Zarynthian hive minds broke apart from the sheer psychological overload. They thought humans were emotional and primitive. They didn't understand. Those emotions, grief, rage, love, were humanity's greatest weapon. The fall of the Empire. The war lasted only 7 months. But by the end, Zarynthian capitals were glassed, entire continents melted by fusion bombs. Their queens were hunted one by one, executed in silence. Their slave worlds were liberated, with humans arming those they freed and teaching them to fight back. At the final battle, the same women who had been taken were brought to the front lines, not as victims, but as soldiers and commanders. They watched the Zarynthian throne world burn. And humanity sent one last message. You thought taking our daughters would break us. But you only taught us how far we'd go to protect them. Legacy. The Zarynthian species barely survived. The remnants fled to dark corners of the galaxy, whispering horror stories of Earth's wrath. No longer was humanity seen as a curious new species. Now, across the galaxy, they were called the Flameborn, the vengeful children of Terra, the protectors of the innocent, and the destroyers of empires. And every empire, every species, every tyrant now knew one truth. You can conquer a world, but if you touch humanity's heart, you awaken their fury, and nothing survives that fire.